Hello, guys, my five brave listeners. Uh, no, it's brave to try a new channel. I know you can't. It's good. It's a use of your time. I know you can't see me very well. Lighting's terrible here. I'm in the middle of a brutal rainstorm, and going inside is not an option. So there's one little light that you can uh, feast your eyes on, so that you know this is a real person here. Uh, no, I. Anyways, without getting distracted with the lack of ambiance and being able to see your YouTuber here, um, the market's continuing to melt down. Gold's holding steady, silver's holding steady. People are still losing their minds in places, mainly places of power. Um, People who have lost their minds in places where areas were burning. Look, we can look at all these things and think it's the worst Christmas in my lifetime. It's the worst Christmas in decades. It's the worst Christmas in years. But there's still amazing things happening. And if you just take the position of hope, if you just take the position of I'm going to keep going, um, you got another step to make today before the day's done. Maybe it's relaxing, whatever it may be. Go and do it. Take it. Maybe you got more work to do. We're getting close to holidays. The holiday that almost everyone takes off with Christmas. So hope you enjoy Christmas. Hope you get it to take it off. And yeah, I'm just gonna cover a couple things that I think I can cover specifically real quick. And we're just food for thought here. So take this in, consider it, and go investigate what this might mean. But the BBB, Build Back Better by Biden, 4Bs. Um, that thing's dead in the water. For some people, there's whole industries that we're looking for to have a big boon these coming years that they will not have now. That's a real detriment to to that part of the economy. Um, in other ways, it'll actually be better for most economy. And as with any bill that requires the government to do a lot of spending, it would have ultimately hurt the U.S. economy. I'm in America, so obviously I'm vested in that. I'm a small businessman and hope to be a bigger businessman one day. And so that's with my goals. So I want an economy that's going to be free to that. So I'm definitely biased to that. But at the end of the day, I'm not in West Virginia. That's not my senator who called the shots there, and he put the bullet in the plan, so to speak. He shot it down, and that thing is done, dead in the water. So the takeaway to learn from this, we just saw a state that yes, they voted for the orange guy, Trumpola, just less than a year ago, but they're not a what you call a conservative state or a what do you call it, liberal state. They're very very medium water, very very bathwater. They've been back and forth in different places over the years, so I find it quite interesting that and Manchin has been that way too, and so these things I have studied for years, and I find it quite interesting that Manchin was willing to just go, you know what, lay out everything he did. I mean, he tried to make it pass. Basically, he tried to get West Virginia on board. West Virginians did not want to do it, and that should tell you something, man. That should tell you something that you know the mainstream wants to say that the climate is a certain way, and they are frantic now. I mean, just look at some of these articles, these headlines popping up on YouTube, Bing, MSN, Safari, all whatever your news supplier is. If you're taking an alternative news source, as I tend to, but look at them all: Forbes, Bloomberg, and go down the list, Wall Street Journal. Um, you will see that the ones that are with the mainstream narrative, they are frantic, and the ones that are not, they don't have good things to say right now. Like, as in, they don't have a lot of positives, except to say that, well, you can definitely tell where the market is going. You can definitely tell where politics is going. You can definitely tell what society thinks. And I think that is awesome, because that is what freaked people out early this year and late last year. And so that's an important thing to take away from all of this, is that right now the water's pretty clear. We can see what everyone's up to. Um, Process information, as much information as you can, discern, grow in wisdom, grow in discernment, grow in knowledge, grow in understanding, and you'll be ready. And I say wisdom because if you don't take actions on what you uh, cognitively learn and what you mentally remember from school lessons, maybe your school is your job, whatever it may be, maybe you have a small business, um, maybe you're in another part of the world dealing with totally different factors than I am, and any American is. But whatever the case may be, it's just it's not worth getting hung up on the little things, but to focus on them, deal with them, and move on to the next one. I have a day to day, and then I have tomorrow. And tomorrow is nothing I can control until tomorrow gets there. And even then, I can only control what I do. So, yeah, I'd like to draw attention to check out the article about there's multiple coverages of it. I know Tim Pool covered it. If Tim Pool covered it, he covered it on his podcast as well. So I know he covered it off of someone else's article. So there's articles out there for it. But go check out the Colorado truck driver and what's going on there with the 110-year sentence. Um, there are things in this world that just don't line up for us sometimes, don't line up for you, they don't line up for me, and things just go wrong. Sometimes things go really wrong. And I have a brother in a specific part of government service, and he is being removed for not letting a certain thing go in his body. And he's very, this brother, all my brothers are very honorable, but probably more so than me. But this brother he's arguably the most peace-loving, honorable man you'll meet in a young man. Um, yeah, I know he's not a contentious man. He's hardworking, he's diligent, and he's brilliant. I mean, they're losing an asset that they trained and dumped money into, so it's foolishness. I mean, if that was a business, they would be underwater right now. They would be sinking. So I share that for a couple reasons in that scapegoats happen, man, and for problems to be recognized, things have to go wrong and people get hurt when things go wrong. Um, there, the market has to dump to correct. Uh, Politics. Um, People talk about everything these days from Civil War to I forget who was a New York Times, New York Post had an article saying, "Oh, second Civil War, is it coming?" or something like that. And I'm like, fear mongering. That sounds like fear mongering, but or war mongering even coming from New York Post, New York Times. But whichever it was, anyways, I just thought it ironic. But then I'm like, you know what? It's a good question to raise because we're a very tribalized nation, and that we were a very tribalized nation back then. Maybe there won't be a civil war, but it draws attention to the question that there is a great division on how to do life, and I'm sure I'm going to come across that with you guys, and you guys are going to come across that with me, and we should figure that out. We should figure out where we stand, because it doesn't matter where you stand. There's going to be bad things that are going to happen to some of us that are beyond our control, except that you made a choice on principle. I made a choice on principle and decided to stick with it. Stick with the principle. If your principles are screwed up, it will show and you can learn. If you keep learning, if you keep going to solid truth, like that's why I give you that Mineko channel. It's great economic truth. That's why I bring up the book of Proverbs, man. Anybody will tell you who is willing to look at literature honestly that book of Proverbs, man, that is a way to live your life. And if I took even 90% of it, I would be a much better man than I am today. But I don't know if any human will take 90% of a book that rich. So on that note, December 20th, 2021, signing off. Hope you enjoy this message and hopefully you receive what I have to hear. Remember, unoffendable over fear. You get victimized, don't let it get to your head, don't let it get to your heart. It's going to attack your feelings first. It's going to try to attack your integrity and identity. Don't let it, man. Don't let it, woman. Whoever you are, just deal with it. Nip it in the bud. Say this doesn't hold me down. Say that to yourself and move on. Move on. You always have the choice in front of you. That is always yours. Blessings.